Hello again, I'm Stephen Jerome, and I'm going to continue reading from my third novel, The London Year. In fact, I'm going to conclude my reading of The London Year with this segment. So this is part 113. Terry and Sebastian have been out at an art opening, a rather cruel outing in a way. And so now the evening is over, and when valets, one on each side, closed the door of the Jaguar and we sped away, the sudden silence was almost a shock. We'd been to plenty of crowded openings, but never had work seemed so much like play. Cruel play. We both enjoyed every minute of it. "You really got him with that last shot," Sebastian said once we were underway. "I know. He looked like a frightened puppy. He begs like one too." I looked over at Sebastian. His amused smile said more than I wanted to know, but I knew. "And you, Terry?" he said, putting a congratulatory hand on my leg and leaving it there. "You've got some new moves." I knew what he meant. We'd tag-teamed poor Ronnie. It was a side of me Sebastian had never seen. I wondered if he thought my skills were a missed opportunity. Either way, his praise was for all the wrong reasons. But not so the hand on my leg. We drove in silence for a minute or two. At a red light, his hand moved inches from my crotch. In spite of myself, my fashionably tight trousers began to swell. I didn't want to say a word in case it broke the thrilling tension. Then the curving road required both hands on the steering wheel, and Sebastian's focus returned to driving. But a line we'd never crossed had most definitely been breached. I was sure it had to do with knowing this was our last gig together. I was gone, save for packing, moving out of Wandsworth Bridge Road the very next day to spend my last few nights at Tessa's place. Every cautionary word she'd ever said was ringing in my head, but this was our last hurrah. There was nothing left to lose but my principles. His hand, his advances, weren't a question. Sebastian never had to ask for anything. We drove in silence for a while. I was still nervous about the crossing of professional lines. He may have removed his hand, but I still had an erection. As for the next move, our power positions did not need to be spelled out. Evelyn Waugh's low door in the wall was finally open, even as I feverishly rationalized. We were both adults. Isn't this what you secretly wanted? People dreamed of being in this exact situation. I knew I was about to walk through. Then, as if I'd spoken these things out loud, Sebastian turned to me smiling. "Nothing to worry about, mate." It was almost tender. Then he brushed my cheek with his hand, letting it drop slowly to rest again on my thigh. All the parking spots on Wandsworth Bridge Road were taken. I expected Sebastian would just drop me off in front as usual, but this time he kept going, driving to the next corner, turning right, then another quick right, which put us in the alley. He stopped at our back gate and turned off the engine. "Not too late for a cuppa?" he asked. I hesitated, knowing my next words would change everything. No, it's not," I said. We stepped out of the car. The sky was cloudless, cool, and very dark. Suddenly, I was all thumbs, fumbling nervously with the gate latch. I'd only ever come in that way once on the night I discovered that the flat had been robbed. Now the back door was closed, no light in the window of my room. There was nothing left to steal. We were totally alone. I closed the gate behind me. When I turned around, Sebastian was standing close, blocking my path to the flat. I looked up at the remarkable face, and he was staring at me. The instinct to flee was as strong as the one that kept me rooted to the spot. Our eyes locked. I was beyond turning back. He took me as I reached for him, and we kissed gently, at first, but only for a second, before we fell into the timelessness of devouring and being devoured. I was lost on the lips of a beauty and charisma so powerful there was nowhere to go except deeper into submission, deeper down the rabbit hole. I have to stop here because I can't read anymore. It becomes too graphic for the algorithms or whatever it is. So I'm going to end the reading of the London Year right here. There's more I could say about the London Year. Perhaps I'll do a postscript in another episode. But for now, I want to thank you all for following along so long, for those that have. And for those that have bought the book, even better. Then you can read for yourself to the very end, which I cannot do, I'm sorry to say. But thank you again. I'm Stephen Jerome. Bye-bye.